some classes by Massimo and me, some, let's say, in-depth analysis provided by Arved, provided by Nadia yesterday. Today we have our roundtable. In each edition of this course, we try to find a catchy and cutting-edge topic to characterize our offer. And today is digital twins and mobility. We will see the role of digital twins from different perspectives in public transport, in mobility, not only. So we have as a guest, we have Roche, correct? Yes. From H2 Mobility, we have Nadia Giuffrida from Politecnico Bari that mentored yesterday, and we have Stefan Böll from the city of Leipzig, or let's say the infrastructure and transport company and authority of the city of Leipzig, which is the partner of a very interesting project. It's called C4C, so Circularity for Central Europe is a European funded project, among which all the elements of circularity which can be integrated into the mobility network of a city are explored and tested, and in particular one very interesting and very advanced experience is the development and testing of digital twin technologies in order to enhance the efficiency, energy efficiency, circularity, predictive maintenance aspects of the infrastructure and of the rolling stocks by, let's say, giving an advanced picture of the network, what is going on, the operations, and so on. So you will have, let's say, different points of view. We will start with a short presentation by Robert, which is providing us a bit of a general view on this, on their activities, and so I would say I would ask him to start. Then I will ask Stefan to tell us a bit about the project and the initiative, and I think Nadia will, let's say, build on their let's say practical experience to give us your let's say innovative view on it. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I sneaked a bit in here and prepared some slides. I wasn't aware that it's not so coming in this round, but for a short introduction, I thought some slides are good. So what I will, what I can bring into this roundtable discussion is an infrastructure perspective on digital twins. So I'm from H2 Mobility. I'm responsible for the digital products at H2 Mobility. And H2 Mobility is building and operating hydrogen refueling stations in Germany and Austria. So in Germany, we have around 60 stations for heavy-duty vehicles. So hydrogen or hydrogen mobility will play a role in heavy-duty vehicle, in the field of heavy-duty vehicles. We have these 60 stations, some more planned, and you can imagine they are all over Germany. You can imagine that it might be a good idea to have some information about these stations, and here we come to this topic of digital twin. For me personally, I looked through my personal archive, let's say, and I saw that the first time I was speaking about digital twin was in 2018. In 2018, I worked at Motion Tech. It's a Berlin startup, and you see here we mentioned something about we built a mobility digital twin to create essential mobility insights. So what we did then was, the Motion Tech is doing this still. We had a technology that uses the smartphone of everyone and automatically detects which mode of transport the people are using. And then, yeah, this was kind of the story. It's possible to have a personal digital twin of your personal mobility. So this was kind of the how we solved or tried to solve it to the investors. And so you have your personal digital twin, let's say. It's similar to I don't know how many have a watch for health monitoring and so on. You can ask yourself, is this then a digital twin of my health or not? And this is here maybe the same. This is a digital twin for mobility or not. You have your personal digital twin, and you can use this also for database decision making. And here we come to also a different important part when we speak about digital twins. When you look at the timeline occurrence of digital twin, this is here from a study that a student of mine did some 2 years ago, and here you see, we were early to the party, let's say. So it seems to be kind of the buzzword in a row of other buzzwords like Industry 4.0 and so on. But as always, there is some need behind these buzzwords. But you see, sometime around 2015, 18, people started talking about digital twins more and more. I think I go over this, but something the student also did is look at definitions of digital twins, and what you see then with something like this opaque buzzword is that there are many different definitions. If you compare it, then you see that it seems that something like a physical asset, a digital representation, and the connection seems to be relevant in all of these definitions. And this is also how we, the point where we are with our stations, let's say. So if you look at a hydrogen refueling station, then you have different parts. From a high level perspective, you have something like the compressor, so it's compressed hydrogen. So you put it into the vehicle with 700 bar or 350 when it comes to heavy duty vehicles. So this has to be prepared, let's say. And then you have a pump where the driver comes with the car, and you have a pressure tank. So there is the hydrogen stored. And these physical assets, as I said, are distributed all over Germany, and it's good to have an overview of these assets. And how do you get it? You have sensors, you have IoT devices on the assets, and then you have something that's pretty old, maybe also a predecessor of digital twin. You have like the SCADA system, so it gives you an overview of the station, and you can do something there. But it's only you could also go there and look at the manometer or something, and you can do it here remotely. So it's not a digital twin, it's just it shows you some sensors. What is important is that you have some database services that you build on, or this is one aspect of a digital twin. You have some database services that you can build on these digital representation. And here comes the connection to another buzzword like predictive maintenance. And this is something, or anomaly detection, this is something that we do with our system that we built up. And here you have one example. The the sensors showed us that there is a problem with energy consumption at one point, and there is heat at one of the modules in one of the assets, and you could have seen it when you are on site, but it's difficult to have an overview of all these sites. So this predictive maintenance gave us the opportunity to see where is the problem and to look for the reason for this problem. So this is one example. Yeah, when it comes to digital twins, you see that, or if you look into the literature, you see that there are different definitions, as I said, but you also have different types. You could try to have a digital image of parts of a system, or the whole system, or processes. And yeah, from my perspective, this is something like where we might be heading for, that we can have a look at the whole system and processes behind it. But for us, at the moment, we are more like in the first steps. And yeah, I hope this is, gave you a bit of an insight what we do and where we stand. And I mean, we have a vision where these digital twins can bring us. And I hope this is also part of the discussion today. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Robert. And then I would ask Jan, you stay here, Stefan. So, what is like the commitment of Leipziger Perspektive, right?
Yeah, that's great.
In, let's say, having and creating a picture of the network infrastructure, which is adding value actually to the everyday job of mobility planners and infrastructure and mobility managers.
Yes, thank you, Gabriele and Massimo, for the invitation to a roundtable without table. So I need to speak a little bit slowly because my English is not the very best, but we try to. My name is Stefan Roller, I'm the head of infrastructure at Leipziger Verkehrsbetriebe, short LBB, and we are the public transport company in Leipzig with around 300 kilometers of tracks for trams. We are using 270 trams and 166 buses daily for our service. We do it with 2,800 employees, and so we are the second biggest company in Germany because of the track length for trams. Because of our size, we are naturally focused and interested in economical and modern maintenance methods, because we are of the same problems as everybody, that there are no more experts in the future. And so we have to bring things in systems that work automatically, not in predictive maintenance focus, but that should be over a couple of years an option. The LBB has fixed assets over 780 million euro. We have a big part of buildings, of vehicles and infrastructure, and we reinvest yearly around about 180 million euros. So we have a lot of money to spend to keep our assets on level and to bring good service to our citizens and our customers. Now, Gabriele said it already, we are busy with a research project called CE4CE. And in this project, we as LBB are looking for methods to improve our knowledge of our infrastructure. At this time, we do it with some measurements, only 1 time per year or 2 times per year, and we do it with only one guy who is walking around and looking at the infrastructure. Why only one guy? Because we get the same view all the time. And we don't get 5 different views if we use 5 guys. But it's not enough to get only 1 time per year or 2 times per year to get information. So we are looking forward to get an optimal life cycle for our assets, and that's why we have brought some measurement technology on trams, and we're going with tram on the normally ride to collect data from the catenary and from the tracks, and to bring them to a system with automatically analyzing to get information. And if you find an incident, we have to use the knowledge of the experts to combine the expert knowledge, the fault, with the measurement data. So that's the focus on the project, because then in the future we can use our assets as long as possible, and we find the perfect point to renew and to reinvest in our assets. If you do it earlier, we don't save money, and we don't save the ecological components and the raw materials, because we can use it over a few months or years. And if you do it too late, we have to reinvest within a short rebuilding action, and it's expensive, and it doesn't work so long as we use it. So with the trams we are using on the normal traffic, we're collecting data, and we are creating a digital twin. That's not our main focus, but we are creating a digital twin, and we use it for our knowledge. In the second part, we have a compared project. It's called LRV Twin, and it's focused on the vehicles. It's in the vehicle department, and they set a lot of measurement technology in only one tram. And they did a high measurement. So everything in the tram was known, what happens in the tram, but it was very expensive. And we compared another trams with lower technology, and we used the technology in the tram, the sensors in the trams. There are a lot of sensors in the modern trams, so that we can combine the less precise data with the high precise data, and via the Gaussian distribution, we can combine the data and get a good knowledge from the low precise or less precise data. So it's nearly the same as in the infrastructure, and that shows that we don't work on one digital twin. We are working on a lot of digital twins. We have to combine the data from the digital twins to get a total view over our system. The same on the buildings we are using. So we put sensors in for heating consumption, for energy consumption, and these are things, and everything is going to a strategy to get the optimal usage and the optimal reviewing point. The measurement technology, sensors, algorithm, and machine learning give us numerous opportunities to get more information from our assets. So we can record the condition of the track system and nearly get a real-time view what happens in our system. And in the future, it's the dream for me to get the information to combine automatically measurement information with faults, with expert knowledge, and to get a sheet to our maintenance people to renew or repair or do anything. The first point is to optimize the technical components, because we can see some faults we can't see with our eyes, or only if we do it very intensive, or it's too expensive to do it every day and every time. And if there's anything in the catenary, it's going down, so we can't see it on just the moment that it happens. But with measurement, we get the information, and so we can bring it on the right point, and we get the optimal usage, the optimal gain between vehicle and infrastructure. We tried in the past another view. We take some analyzing vibration and stress indicators to get another view on the faults we get so we get in the tracks. So there's another digital twin from vibration and sound measurement that we can combine. And all these things we have now to make a strategy. We are busy with a strategy to combine it and to get one information we can use in the future if we more use systems and less use people. Another point is we use our collected data to focus on energy consumption. It's not the lifetime, not the life cycle cost of the infrastructure, but it's the usage of our whole system. We use a lot of energy, 64 gigawatt stunden per year, so it's a lot of money what is in. And if you only can use 5% less, it's a lot of money we can use for other things for our people. Further, we can give with focus on the energy consumption, the drivers a good advantage and a good view how they can drive. If you know there is a red light, so brake or don't brake and recuperate or use the energy, there are questions the drivers have today from their own experience, from their own expert knowledge. And in the future, we want to give them some advice how it's getting the optimal energy consumption to get to the next point, to the next stop for the customers or to the red light. So that are points we are looking in the second. And in the third, we have a lot of renewing projects where we renew the tracks and the catenary system. And if we are busy in the whole city, there is traffic jam, a lot of traffic jam, because if we are building it, it costs a lot of time. And all the vehicles have to go another way. We can do public transport normally. So for the customers, it's not the best option. And if we come to a simulation, what happens in the city, where are some building places and what is possible for the traffic, for our traffic, for the open traffic. So we can do better methods and better models to get an optimal building plan over the whole city. So it's another point, if we can simulate all things. In the conclusion, the technology gives us more options to do our work, and so we have to start on a travel to use it, because we have no other option. And that's why I think it's digital twin and AI are buzzwords, yes, but there is a lot of need after it, and we have to find it and to use it. Thank you.
So Mario has, let's say, privileged role of observer from the academia point of view. I'd like to have your take on our question. Is a general question, so is digital twin basically a buzzword? But looking at the two experiences we just our other guests just shared, also my question to you is like, what kind of a game changer and why, if it's not a buzzword, why is digital twin a game changer in the mobility ecosystem, in the mobility environment?
Thank you very much. So as I told you yesterday, I think it's not a buzzword, but it's of course a fancy word, because we saw that the digital twin exists since Apollo 15. So it's not something new, and the term was actually invented in the beginning of 2000. But I think it's important that a term has been defined for this concept, because before we had the models, the simulations, and there was not a unique term that could merge all this information, all what is needed for a digital twin. I think it's a game changer because, as we saw in the two presentations, we can have it for a unique component, a very small component, then we can have it, for example, we had it for the rotor, then for the pump, then for the car, then for the infrastructure, then for the city. And I believe it's very important, the concept that in the interaction between these digital twins, everything can be integrated. So it's important that it can become a unique system that can be managed by the company, for example, and that's the reason why it could be a game changer. In the last years, this is becoming more and more important because we have several infrastructure, several components which will have their own sensors. So we will have more data, more information that can be used to feed these digital twins, and we can be more informed about the conditions of our assets, of our equipment, of our infrastructure. And another important thing that I see is the existence of the augmented reality, for example. I believe that having a digital twin is really useful for augmented reality, because of course if you want to use it in the proper way and have the maximum efficiency from augmented reality, having a correct digital twin that is able to actually replicate the reality could really help. This, of course, is particularly important in the case of mobility, in the case of road transport, in the case of railway transport, because these are all fields that experience a lot of disruptions. You know, they can depend from human behavior, which is the most unpredictable field, but they can also depend on policies, on politics. There are several factors that could intervene. And having the digital twin can allow to perform the predictive maintenance for the whole system, you know. So you can imagine whatever disruption, and you can try to set some solution. You can test them, and you can see how they perform. So yes, maybe it's a fancy word, maybe it's a buzzword, I don't know, but it's a word that we need to define the system. And what I actually believe is that we need more standardization when we talk about digital twin, so that we can have a common view of this concept, in my opinion.
Okay. At this point, after 3 interventions, I have only questions. I try to distribute it for you, because first of all, we have two different perspectives somehow. Perspective of a company which is building a digital twin for its own basically purpose, and somehow it's creating a system which is proprietary, I imagine. And so the first question is, what competitive advantage is going to give you on the market? And at the same time, how do you see the interaction between your digital twin and, let's say, other possible, let's say, public initiatives, private initiatives, competition, cooperation in the market?
Competitive advantage, so the first part. I think somehow if you plan, so I'm responsible for the digital products, and from my perspective, this all makes sense. It makes sense to have sensors everywhere to collect information and to make informed decisions. But in the end, so this might be the first challenge, I also have to present some valid business case, let's say. Yeah? So, and here we are directly at this point competitive advantage. And you have to see how much does it cost to implement it, and how much does it cost also for operation. So this is one main challenge for us. And the second part of your question, so where do we see, like, let's say, spillover effects? We are using proprietary systems. That's correct that we are building our own. But I think the industry in general is at this point. So if something new comes, then often this is how it starts. Everyone tries to build something up by themselves, and then someone else comes and makes a product out of it. So I think so. This is the situation where we are in general as an industry, and the spillover effect will come when we are successful with our. So when I can show we implemented all these sensors, and there was some effort to do it, but it produced these benefits. Then this is a best practice that can be used for spillover effects.
Spillover effect, you mean like how much? Do you expect that this might even, let's say, complement or even change your business model in the future? I mean, in mobility innovation, in digitalization, we see it quite often. Like a company develops something for its own internal benefit and purpose, like a better understanding and better control over the network, then they say, hey guys, I mean, you put a lot of money in it, so how do we build a business case? Maybe there are other people in other industries or in the same industry which can, let's say, build on our experience and basically buy our new product. Do you see that as a, I mean, you are responsible for digitalization, so that might be interesting.
Yeah, I think my point is you have to see at which point we are now. So we heard that many companies use sensors to measure different aspects of the system, but this digital twin is more like a vision, yeah, where we want to where we or that we use to sell this big story, let's say, and yeah, this is the point to give examples for that. This vision is really not a buzzword, but it's actually something that's working.
And last question, then I leave you. Oh,
Maybe
please.
I think it's been a game changer for the acceptance of technology. If you look at electric cars, if you know there is a charging station free, and you know it in your car or in your smartphone, you use the electric car more than a normal car, because it's easier for the customer. And that's where technology and digital twins come to the customer and give them more acceptance for technology, for new technology. And it's the same as at your stations. If the vehicle driver knows there's a station I can pump hydrogen now, and it's free, and I don't have to wait a half hour, so it's okay. So it's a very important thing, I think.
Yeah, completely, I totally agree. Here we're talking about B2C perspective, so the user, let's say, has a different view on the service. One last question, then I leave you in peace at least for 5 minutes. So, yeah, but from the, let's say, B2G perspective, so towards the goal, let's say you develop a charging station in close to LVB facility, and the city of Leipzig and even Stefan as LVB will ask you to share information, data also from your perspective, from your model, because your model is part of the network. What I find very interesting is that digital twin works in order to fill knowledge gaps when we are talking about networks and when we are talking about life cycle. So basically, you have one dimension in time and one dimension in space. And so you will always have to interact with networks, public networks, and guys like him might ask you, okay, you want to do your business here? What data are we sharing? How do you see that in the future?
Yeah, this is even a step further, but I think this will really be the game changer then if you connect the digital twins. So this is could be really interesting. Yeah, I mean, we heard that you are using 64 gigawatt hours of electricity, and yeah, maybe. If you measure this correctly, then maybe this is also an information that's interesting for us, because hydrogen has to be produced somehow, and maybe we can combine it with electrolyzer and so on, and then we are speaking. So this is really important. Connecting these digital twins, taking a step further, and also from a B2G perspective. I mean, at the moment, the building a hydrogen refueling station is realized on funding from the government, and we have to prove that this funding was well spent, and so we have to deliver even today data to the government, and I think they are also happy if they get a more granular data, and so yeah. The availability of the data and the digital twin opens new possibilities.
And to to Stefan, it's kind of connected to that. You have a different, let's say, problem, let's call it like that, or challenge, because your digital twin develops a bit more horizontal, as we saw, like for different purposes on different parts of your business, vehicles, network, grid, etc. And also, I mean, what we know is that when it comes to public funding and to different projects, that somehow has to compose a mosaic. Sometimes it's a matter of technology maturity, it's a matter of purposes. How do you put together the strings and what are the challenges there? I mean, it's all stuff which is yours and you have somehow to create a line and to make it work together, also for economic purposes, I guess.
The challenge, Gabriele, is just to make the good decisions. What are we using as from an element from the digital twin? Which digital twin are we creating, and don't give an overload to our people who are working with the digital twin? And how we combine data, it's not necessary to combine every data, but we have to combine a good data. And usage, in business case, we are already using is we give our customers information. How long does it take to the next tram or bus is arriving, and you can go further. We do it already for 10 years or so. So that's already a digital twin, the knowledge where is the vehicle and at which time it's in the next place. I think it's very important to take the experts and the humans and our employees on the travel to let them make decisions. Which knowledge do you need? And the first step, as I ask, what knowledge do you need? They say everything. Okay, that's not possible, and that's not for a good goal. So we make a decision for the top 3 questions we have. What are the top 3 pain points we have to know for the first step? And we are busy with the top 3 for the infrastructure. And we see on the work on the first questions, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th are coming up, and we get easier solution because we have already done some decisions on the top 3, how we can get the information and how we can bring the experts to work with it. And so there's more fun for them to work with the data and just, hey, I found anything, and we can do this. It's very easy because it's the same algorithm as this, and so we need not only the leaders to say we need digital twins and AI and digitalization. We need people who are working on the systems to say what are your questions, what is the most painful point in your work, where can you compare time, where can you getting faster, and you feel more comfortable. That is the driving for our people. And at this time, we changed generations. The boomers go out of the work time, and we get a lot of young people, a lot of interested people, and people who are growing up with smartphones and iPads and technology. So it's normal to use it, and there's no break to give some data because they are using social network and that sort of thing. So it's easier. The discussion than with the guys who are 60 or older now. They are saying, now let's do the paper, it's good. If there's no electricity, I have to pay. That's not the way. But it's growing up, and I feel it's getting good, and it's getting faster and faster and faster and faster in the points.
Very interesting. And how about the human factor that you mentioned, but not only from the expert's perspective for the plan, from the work perspective. So, I mean, these decisions on digital twin affect a lot of people in the workshops for the maintenance, a lot of people going, maybe this one guy that you mentioned that was around and everything. So, what is the acceptance and what is the perception from the worker point of view on these innovations?
It's easier than we thought. We thought it should be complicated to bring them to the technology, but it's easier because we asked them on an early stadium to take a view on the system, to look at mobile devices, to give us an advice device, how we can use it, what is comfortable for them. Is it better to have the mobile device in a car or to take out, to take photos? And they are very interested to work on the apps we are using and we are developing. So it's nearly the same. I think it's a little bit easier than on the experts. They are working only on the computer because they have too much use. And the guys outside, they have only one view. I do my work, and if it's easier for me, I don't have to stay so long on a cold weather or anything. So they are more interested to work with us and give us inspiration. But it's very important to listen. And that's the same, the inside people and the outside people, it's the same. We have to listen to our human, to our employees, what do they need? And that's the same outside on the maintenance people.
Okay, so now about this, about in general, the interactions between digital twins and, let's say, people and private and public actors. From the governance perspective, if you would tell me how the governance of digital twins would look like in the future. Now we don't have it. I mean, we have initiatives, private, public, mixed, and at a certain point, I think there will be a need for better coordination. How do you see it also from the technical perspective?
Yeah, that's a very interesting point actually, and I believe that what emerges also from what my other friends are saying is that apart from the physical asset and the digital asset, we also need to describe the social network of all the actors that are involved in these processes, and this should also be simulated. It should be a part of the digital twin, because if we want to use it to predict the future, we also need to understand how people will react to this future, starting from the same company that is preparing the digital twin, and all the stakeholders and the people that are working inside the company, and the customers and the users of the system. So it's important also to study people behavior and in general the interaction between the different actors of the decision-making process. In terms of the governance, what I see in the future is that, of course, each company can create its own digital twin, but then I imagine that each city will have its own digital twin. So from a public perspective, together with the private companies and in cooperation with them. So it's like, I believe it would be a mixed procedure, like a public and private together, working to have the best option to predict the future of the city. I imagine this will be quite hard, as usual, because to have this cooperation needs several years, of course, to build the trust in the governance. But if I have to imagine this future, I imagine it like this, like a public governance that can operate with the digital twin, and then the private companies that provide their data, and of course they should have also benefits from this. They cannot be only giving data without having nothing back, so they should have some information.
So you raised a very important point. So let's start from parallel questions. I want to see your opinion on some common topics. So data property, data protection, and privacy. What's happening? Is it going to be better, more critical, more challenging? What are the, let's say, cautions that we have to consider?
Well, for sure it's becoming more challenging because we're having more and more data with the years upcoming. And if we're talking about mobility and transport, I'm thinking about connected and automated mobility. And in that future, we will have a huge amount of data that will be shared, and they will have to be shared, because if these vehicles should travel autonomously, they need to know the position and the speed and maybe the final destination and the region of the other vehicles. So this, of course, will be a very great challenge, both for the private companies and the public authorities, because it will be a lot of data and a lot of new equipment to be used for this. And that's one of the reasons why I think that a public governance should operate on this in general.
Okay, Robert, what do you think?
Here we come to the foundation somehow of the digital, the data part, and the aspects you mentioned are relevant, but even data quality is relevant. So it's how do we manage this? And we see some initiatives or also regulations when it comes to you have to give some data for free as open data, and we see that these discussions are very hard, and what comes out is often not the best solution, but some solution. And I'm thinking about, for example, the AFIR, the alternative fuel infrastructure regulation. There, it's mandatory that companies have to share information about charging stations, about hydrogen fueling stations. They have to give this on a national level to some database, and then it's collected, and then it's distributed to a EU level. And here we speak about data that's so on one side it's the digital twin, a huge vision, and here we try to collect some data about the station. Where is it working, is it not? And we see that this is even a very hard discussion, let's say. And when you look at this, you see that data governance and all the aspects you mentioned, that's pretty big challenge.
And so, I mean, there are privacy issues, there are, let's say, convenience in sharing issues. So let's say, sort of, you see any, let's say, possible information market, also business to business, also private to private. Do you see this happening somehow?
As I mentioned, 7-10 years ago, I worked more in this mobility data field, and there were many companies coming up, and it was like a gold rush. And we go more through a valley of disillusionment somehow, and but we see that the data is important, and we still see companies that try to collect data from different sources, try to monetize it somehow. So there will be something, but the digital gold rush is over, I would say, for the moment. But still we need it. But then something will come.
Public perspective, if I may. How do you see? I mean, from the perception point of view. The risk I see for public institutions, I mean, like I said, every city, every metropolitan area will have this digital twin. So the governance of data is important, the privacy, the sharing, the collection. But from the perception of the average citizen, how do you avoid and communicate that you are not a big brother?
Basically, we are critical infrastructure. So we have to protect our data, we have to protect our assets. And if you look at water companies, it's nearly the same. You can't open all data, otherwise you have too much gates to get in and to give terrorism or so and gate. So we have to make levels which protection we need for data. For basic data, we need a high protection. For the first aggregation, we can give another level, and for things we give outside to work with the data, we have to make a decision which data we can give outside. And if you look at the home pages of different cities, you can already find some open data. Like heat maps, like where are the building places in the city, what are the plans for bicycle lanes, what are the highways for the bicycles. So some data is already available on the internet. And so we had already made decisions what we give out, the information for the customers, especially use and information we give out. But we have to protect the basic data, what is critical, and that is the most difficult part. How far we will go, what will we give outside, what will we share with companies, and what will we share with the public. We've seen it in the CE4CE project. We asked 4 companies to come together to work with us in a workshop for our measurement techniques and analyze tools. They don't want to talk in the first 2 hours because everybody is protecting his knowledge and saying, no, I don't talk to you, you can learn anything, what is my business, I can sell and you can better not. But after the first 2 hours, they were talking, they were learning that they can give some inspiration to each other. And then it was over 4 hours and really great inspiration session. And we see that they don't give their insights out, but the data we can combine and we can give out. We have thought in companies to give it out and to make a bigger view for everybody who's busy in our project. And I think this is the view we have to take for our data too. What is a good information to give us benefit? And then it's not necessary to talk about money, because benefit in construction projects or anything, we see it on one way. So it's not always a decision by money. It's more from protecting data.
Clear. And by the way, this makes me think that if I remember well, in the CE4CE project, you were about to launch a hackathon, right?
Yeah.
So you provide some information on challenges, data that might be, let's say, available, used in order to provide solution. What do you think? I mean, can we invite our students to join? I mean, this was one of the, let's say, options that were discussed. It would be great. And I think, I mean, it's, I don't remember when it's going to be launched, but I think it's dedicated to students, right? To students from different parts. We will have Maribor, other areas. Of course, also the students. Welcome. So I think it could be really a nice chance to see better how what is collected at the digital twin level, what is collected at city level can be reused to create further values. Not resold as it is, but to generate also mutual benefits and also public benefits. Good. And about the topic of engaging new generations, you talked about new skills, etc. Another parallel question would be what skills will be needed from, let's say, new generations, people which are, let's say, acquiring knowledge and education on several topics. I mean, here we are talking about from regulation and legislative aspects to more technical aspects. What would you say to take your methodology, Stefan? 3 priorities for the students to become, to get into the topic and become, let's say, experts.
I think the most important thing is to be interested in, to keep pioneering, and already asking what is the business case, what is the usage.
Good. Daniel, what do you think? For your students, for our students?
Well, data analysis, of course, it's pretty much important, but I think it's becoming important in every sector. Decision making is another important one, because you can be able to have a look at the data and manipulate the data, but then you need also to understand how to use them to take the final decisions. and of course sustainability, because I believe that all of this should move towards sustainability. So it's also important to have that view and to combine the decision making with the sustainability view, of course.
Great. Robert?
Yeah.
Which entities you would like to join you?
I would also say what Stefan said, that somehow the mindset is most important, or would be for me. So to be able to, let's say, connecting the dots and see the bigger picture. Quite often you see new colleagues who miss this this mindset, let's say, because I mean, like ChatGPT and Co. It came up like 2 years ago, and we all woke up in a new world where more hard skills like programming knowledge and so on are not so valuable anymore, I would say. So if you have today you are able to you have to have the idea and the mindset to execute this idea. So this is the most important. It's not so important to have the deepest knowledge in the newest data programming language or whatever I would say. So, and this is it might sound a bit vague, but this is really somehow the most important skill I would look for.
Which reminds me a bit, Massimo, what happened around 1 year ago in this very room when we had the first edition. The round table was on artificial intelligence, and everyone was concerned about how do we need to learn how it's going to be, like programming and there was I don't remember who it was, but one of our guests said, like, guys, you have to learn how to use it. But my perspective, my vision is like that artificial intelligence is the Excel of the new generations. So learn how to use it. Our generation, I would say, Massimo, try to use it to understand all the functionalities and all the potential application of the Excel application. Okay, so very interesting. So guys, don't leave me alone torturing our guests. So, any question? Any curiosity? So, Karen?
Yeah, I'm curious about the topic of sensors because I don't have any experience with the life cycle of it because, of course, it's very, from what I understand, there's really a big use to for predictive maintenance in both of your companies. So, how much do you have to consider how long these sensors last and the maintenance of those sensors itself, like monitoring them and so on?
From a sensor perspective, I would say the highest costs are more the implementation costs, and it's not so much the operational costs. Basically, you have to decide more for the overall setup, and I guess.
Or how long it typically lasts in your setup?
I mean, it's a quite new field. I think Technische mobility started like so we built hydrogen refueling stations since 2015. So there was like the first, and maybe this data-based mindset came in a bit later, and we have the setup that we have started. We started to build up like 5 years ago, and it's not a big issue. We don't. It's not something that we have to be very careful of. So how long does the setup last? I would say. What's your experience?
The sensors are not so expensive, so it's not so important if they do it for 5 years or 7 years. Is not the important thing. The sensor technology is a little bit like Lego. So if there's one thing that doesn't good work, you can put it up, you put another one in, and you get a newer one in, and you get another information maybe. So I think that's not a challenge.
And it's a technology that goes very fast, so you like to change them to have more information, yes.
In our case, we can use some sensors which are already in the vehicle. So we can use the data on the campus from the vehicle, and we get some, especially energy consumption, door problems. Also, we can get from the vehicle itself sensors, acceleration sensors are in the vehicle. So there's a lot of information already in, and we have to plug in some more. And a good collector box, a good collector computer put in, and we have to make a decision which data we are sending to our system on the onboard unit, because data transfer is not very expensive, but what should we do with the data we don't need? And then we have to on the system. So we decide on the vehicle which data we send to our system. And maybe in the future we send more, but at this time we have the package for our questions.
Edge computing.
Edge computing, yeah. And it's very important. The edge computing must be certificated, because you shouldn't send data in the vehicle. It's only one direction. So because we are critical with the vehicles and infrastructure, only one direction.
So only reporting, but not intervening, not intervening with the vehicle operation, right?
Yeah.
So my question is for SC Mobility. So I wanted to know what are the major challenges that you face for bringing a station for refueling hydrogen, and the second question is, are there any incentive schemes for logistics that needs to be accelerated for kind of encouraging hydrogen as a fuel?
What do you mean with incentive schemes? So funding government?
Yes.
In principle, yes, but in Germany we had this situation last year that some of these funding schemes were on hold, and everyone hopes that some things will be or will start again this year. But funding is a nice topic. It's a bit out of our scope here today. So yes, there are incentives, and because it's a new technology and you somehow have to bring it into the market, so it's more expensive beginning. The second question was
regarding the challenges that you face for the refueling stations, because acceptance will be a major challenge, because people are used to gasoline as a fuel and primarily so.
Again here, you have a new technology, there are challenges on many different levels. So you have technological challenges on the infrastructure level, on the car level. Acceptance, I would say, is not so much a big issue, at least in Germany. It's more, when we started like 10 years ago, it was, we had to show that this is something that, or that hydrogen mobility is something that works and that it is safe. So these were the concerns at the beginning. Now everyone agrees, okay, there is something, it's working, it's safe, but how much does it cost? And this is now the biggest challenge, right? How much does it cost to produce green hydrogen? How much does it cost to operate the vehicles? How much does it cost to operate at the station? So these are the big challenges at the moment. And when you go deep into these three topics, you see that there are many open questions.
So you are currently only focused on green hydrogen right now?
Yeah, I mean, there are not so many sources for green hydrogen at the moment. So only around 30% at the moment are green hydrogen, but this is the problem. The underlying problem is that hydrogen production, electrolyzers, this has to be ramped up, and it's just not available at the moment.
Because yesterday we had a visit at Seymour station.
Yeah.
So I was in discussion with a person, and he was like, "We are working on something which is for creating hydrogen at a place, and then we'll supply it to different locations."
Yeah. Yeah.
So is H2 mobility also part of it, or how do you use it? Like supplying hydrogen to vehicles or through pipeline is going to be the next big thing.
Yeah, at the moment, hydrogen is distributed via trailer, but yeah, I mean, Germany is planning a network, hydrogen candidates for our network, but it will be in place mid-2030s. And I mean, then it's a totally different situation. If hydrogen is available, if it can be distributed, and it has to be used in different other industries, then prices will go down, and it will be also more relevant maybe in the mobility sector. So this is like the situation today and the outlook in the next 10 years, let's say.
There's one more question. Sorry. So I just wanted to know, since you are from infrastructure field, what are the major softwares that you use? And the second one is, to what extent AI has impacted, or which all areas AI is utilized in your industry?
I think AI is a buzzword. It's automatization, it's analyzing AI is a couple to bring technologies together. It's a new Swiss knife, if you will say it, so it's another tool we can use. And we see it in our normally life. If we get emails, we can use AI to bring to an archive to bring it back and put it in projects by things. So it's another option. I think it's the same as hydrogen. It's another option you can choose, and you got another color on it. And so we want to use it, but a lot of things we're doing now and we are doing in the next few years are not typical AI. So it's just a chance.
Okay, so wait, Andres. Okay, first.
So, given the freshness about digital twin and everybody's talking about it, I just wanted to understand which industry would probably reap the most benefit out of it as of now. I mean, it's good to have for every industry, but which industry can probably reap the most benefit?
Well, even private companies, I guess, from whatever industry, because it's something that helps productivity and efficiency for sure. If you have your own data, you are sure if they are quality data, for example. And inside of a business, it's very easy to manage it. So I think that industrial companies will be the ones that will benefit more, and hopefully also mobility companies.
If I could just ask a follow-up, there's a lot of data driven in this, and AI would probably predict a lot of data. How do we prevent the biasness that AI would have on the data? How could we prevent that? Because human behavior might be tricky sometimes, and data prediction by AI might not be doing the best justice for that. So how do we prevent it?
That's a very interesting question, in particular because we also have a lot of voluntary data, coming for example, from our smartphones. And it happens that apart from the fact that human behavior, as you said, might be tricky, the data quality might be not very good. So if we use those data to predict the future, it will be a wrong future. So it's always important also to base on historical data for sure. So we should not abandon the old ways to collect data, the surveys, and the stated preferences, the revealed preferences, which are still used today, because I believe they are still important. So I think that a good combination between static analysis of data and the dynamic data is the solution. Yeah.
I think we shouldn't be angry. If the guys who go to America should be angry, we didn't know that there's America.
Okay, Anders,
I wanted to ask about cybersecurity. How do you see cybersecurity on the layers of security on the system that you are working? And if this is a conversation, this is a topic, and how do you avoid it?
It's very important, and it's one of the parts which will collect the money, because if you get a new technology, there will be bad guys to use the technology to do anything to collect money for that. So I think cybersecurity, data protection is one of the most important things in the next years, now and in the next years. And we don't know what there should be happen, because you are already reacting on cybersecurity. You can't be on the first step. That's difficult.
Or you are being attacked by companies to work on cybersecurity, or
We have
you are working with companies?
Yeah, we are working with companies to bring cybersecurity to our systems, of course. The big players have invested in a lot of cybersecurity, so they are our solution at this point. But we did our own cybersecurity system with the Deutschland ticket. It's a ticket we sell in whole Germany. And of course, there are a lot of people to try to do bad things and collect tickets without paying. And LVB has some good guys, and we brought in fraud detection. We made our own fraud detection only for us, and we don't see what it is. And other companies ask us to give us them, so we get another business case. We don't want, but we have. So sometimes it happens.
okay.
So if you need one, we sell.
And
So there's
I wanted to just ask a simple question. Does digital twin make a city smarter? Or
Yes.
as
I guess that
to be smart?
it's smarter for sure. Yes. Yeah.
It's already smarter. You're using Google Maps, you're using the time
Yeah.
patterns, you're using where is my next bank, where's the next restaurant, what is the restaurant? You're already smart in the city.
So my question is regarding the cost. So right now, digital twin is very costly. So I want to know which component of it, like is it the sensors, or is it the cloud, or the software which we have the platform where we can see all those data. So what is adding the cost mostly right now? And second thing is in coming years, can we expect the cost to come down significantly? Just like we had the case with CRMs, because initially they were very costly, but right now every company is using them right now. So
Well, I think the cost currently range between very different points, because you can have a quite cheap system in the sense that it's like €1,000, and then you can have the most complex system, which can be €1,000,000, depending on the quantity and quality of data and sensors that you want to use. If you are a company which is managing, for example, road infrastructure, then you need to buy sensors for the whole network. So that would become very costly if you think about that. So I believe one of the major costs, of course, is related to the sensors and to the data in general, to buy the data also. As you said, another big cost is related to the cloud computing, so the virtual space for sure. Maybe the software is not the biggest concern. I guess my opinion, but maybe my colleagues have direct experiences with the costs.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, at the moment we speak about proprietary systems that we build ourselves, and this is definitely the highest cost. So producing the systems, you either have it in-house, so we only have a small team in-house, or you outsource it somewhere, and yeah, you have to. It's definitely the highest cost. So the sensors are, as Stefan said, really cheap, and but data distribution, having the systems, having the dashboards, predictive maintenance systems, and so on. This is definitely the highest cost for us, but because you cannot just go to Amazon and buy it, but you have to do it yourself at the moment. So this would be my perspective. I don't know how it is for.
Same way. The engineering is the most expensive part. And in the past, we can use some software system, SCADA system, for 15 years. That doesn't happen in the future. So we have to continue re-engineer our system. Otherwise, we stand still, and then on the point we don't go further. Re-engineering is the most expensive part, and we have to do it continue.
So can we expect plug-in model, like a common platform where we have for a particular sector? I mean, because different sectors have different requirements. So for automotive, we can have a plug-and-play model where subscription-based system, so we can expect that as well in the coming years. So that would bring down the cost significantly.
The problem for us is that it's not scalable. I mean, we have 50 stations. I mean, how could the cost come down if some other companies see a big business case and they produce something that's cheaper and they can scale it? So I have one example that's it's a funny example. I mean, we also have payment terminals at our stations, where people can use their credit card and pay. And we had some updates on these payment terminals, and then we go to the manufacturer of these terminals and ask for some features that we need for our stations. And they ask them, and we say, like, I don't know, we need 500 terminals, and then they say per week or per month, and we say no, until the end of time, because I mean, when will we have 500 stations? And there you see these companies are not willing to update the systems with the features that we need because it's just not scaling. So this is one problem for us.
I think we don't have to stay on one market, and we have to open our view on other markets. So we look for automotive solutions. We're looking for solutions from totally different markets to bring it to our use cases. And that's a scale effect, a possibility for a scale effect. But we have to look for that we have payment providers too, and we have a lot of discussions, and so as you, and so it's already a singular point of discussion, but you have to look outside your own scope.
I have a doubt and a question as well. So, with respect to the changing regulations, due to the fact that digitalization has become so common these days, what kind of impact will changing governments and coalition governments have on regulations per se in terms of infrastructure and mobility and also energy? Because we see a lot of changes, like even Massimo had mentioned that infrastructure, in terms of mobility has changed in the past 15 years. Every year it's changing. So I'd like you to all kind of share your insights.
Okay. So, as you said, I believe that mobility and transport are sectors which are evolving very, very fast. So, unfortunately, regulations are running behind, the evolution, and we're seeing this with the artificial intelligence. Although I agree with him that it's a buzzword because it can be everything, and I think it will be the same. It's going the same with the digital twin, for example. Maybe today you saw that also there was some difference between the terms used between me and him, because of course, as I said, it's something that is still not standardized. We don't have a common definition. We don't have a common view. So I guess that it would be very important to have some regulation on this, at least at the European level for us. But I also think that also the scopes, of having it should be regulated. So in my view of academic, it's important that we go always towards sustainability. So I believe this should be something that should have a role in the regulation of this type of technology improvements, in particular in the case of mobility.
I think it's chance and risk at the same time. We are a very traditional system. We are running on steel wheels in 150 years. At this time, it was very innovative. Now it's just good. So it's a very good decision to use it this way. And that's what regulations are running behind us. And so we have a chance for the traditional mindset. We are living in the public transport sector. So we need human to break it up. Yeah. But it's a chance. It's a chance for us because we're a big company and we can give our impact to regulations in such forums and work groups. As here, we can give you some information, some mindset points, and we have to use it so that the regulations are good for us. Not us.
Yeah, what's the next?
Yeah. So my question is, I also agree with you on the discussion outside. AI is a lot of a buzzword. So all you guys also in hydrogen station, I'm sure, trying to do a lot of predictive maintenance and automation to avoid downtime, which is your probably worst problem and costly, right? And you collect a lot of data, which you do edge computing, so it's not like all the data is coming and you're trying to make sense of it, right? But then I'm sure that there's still a lot of people in the background looking at these dashboards, trying to figure out what's happening, how to improve it, right? They get a lot of data, and then you said, and then there is still downtime. There is some short stations that have problems and then they don't work, and it's very painful for you as well. It's discussed outside, and you still need to send people, and it's very costly, and people that don't feel maybe, and it's also very costly. So my question is, how far are we from the point where everything is really fully automated? Yeah, to that sense that like in your station that before if you need to send someone today for a very short fix, a week from now there will be no downtime, or when we step outside, how far is it for you? And then so you save a lot of money at the end when it's fully automated, right? Because you save downtime and you save the labor, because they say like in autonomous shuttles and autonomous vehicles, they say the drivers are actually the most costly factor, right? So probably costing the people coming to fix now because you have to fix it. So first of all, how far are we in the future for this to happen to be fully automated, or almost? And then when you save all that money, you also save on jobs. I mean, you cut jobs basically because labor will be depleted, right? So you need less people to maintain, less people to drive, less people to do everything. Where should this money be reinvested in the future industry where everything is automated and less downtime, less fixing? two-part question.
Who wants to start?
I don't know.
Very far, we are very far.
It's just the way we are on the beginning. We
Yeah,
don't know
exactly.
when it ends.
Exactly.
I think surely it never ends. And we don't cut jobs. It's another question. We don't have the people to do the work. We have to make solutions because we don't have the experts and the people to do the maintenance work. So it's another driver for us, another point, to a pain point. If you look to China, they have the people and they do it the same way, but they have the people. And our people are expensive. We don't have them. So we have to make other solutions to save our people, to comfortable workplaces.
And if we look 20 years in the future, then when everything's automated, where would the money be reinvested in the when the robots do some of the work and we save money, people are still existing, right? Population is only growing. In your industries, where do you see this workforce going to doing what?
I mean, one field was already mentioned, safety, cybersecurity, and so on. I think we have to definitely invest more in this than today. And yeah, when it comes to the workforce, I would also agree with it's like this induced traffic paradox. It's the same for technology, I would say. So you have this new technology and you think, okay, then I can save money and I can save, can have a small workforce, and then you see, oh no, then I have a new problem there, and I need, I just cut one person, he has to go around all the stations, but now I need two more that take
That
care of
costs
the-
more, maybe.
that
Yeah.
take care of the cybersecurity.
Because they are more specialized.
I'm exaggerating, but something like this, yeah.
Okay, but it's the way since 200 years. We don't work in coal mine by hand.
Yeah.
No, we are developing solutions for humans
Right. But the
because we are
skills,
humans.
but the skills will have to be different.
Yeah.
That's it's the last 200 years the same.
Yeah.
You have to keep other skills. You don't have to work like coal mine. You have to work outside. You have to make steel or rubber or the skills are changing, but it's getting faster. It's my opinion.
Great. Okay. And so my question is more general, and it's to all three of you. In all of my life, I've been told by different people that it's 99% execution and 1% is like an idea. And then after I during the course of my journey, when I grow forward, and now the speed of execution is also matters a lot. So my question is, in terms of speed, which kind of mindset do you support or useful to achieve like 60, 70, 80% of the accuracy and go ahead with the pilot and learn in the parallel? You just go ahead with the parallel, learn in the parallel, and then the second is, or you achieve 100% foolproof. Everything as per the European laws and everything is perfect. Everything has to be perfect. The safety issues as per on the top of the layer, and then you go ahead with the deployment. The best examples are, I mean, there are many, but China, Japan, India. The mindset is really so different, and I mean that's what because we are discussing all this in terms of data quality, in terms of everything. It looks so futuristic sometimes, but if you talk about the execution, right? when I am discussing something with my CEO in my company, and we're discussing the tenders, when I have meeting with some of the clients in railways, for example, it's just very highly regulated. It looks so futuristic sometimes, and
then after all this futuristic discussion, the last 5 minutes that we talk, okay, let's talk about the real life scenario. So I would really love to know your thoughts, the individual thoughts in terms of this. What do you support? Which mindset?
It's a different question because what kind of topic you are working on, you need another mindset. Some things has to be traditional because you have to save your power, your business. And some things have to be more innovative because you will things getting better. I think it's hard to get people with both mindset in one app. So we need different people, and everybody is different, and that's our chance to get the right people on the right work and the right focus. So there's no answer in percentage.
Well, in academia, ideas are really important, because you needed to have a disruptive mindset because you need to find new research and ideas. But I feel the same as you, because when you have to put down the project, when you have to write it, you need to know how to execute it. So I believe it's very important to have, as he said, both mindset together, because the practice is still important and it's a factor in each field. It's important to consider the actual implementation of things. So the actual realization, the resilience of the system, because you can have the best idea in the world, and as you said, this can work 100% perfect, but then something very disruptive happens, and the system should have the resilience. So you should also consider the practice always, in my opinion.
Right. Guys, we are coming to an end. Akhilesh, Paolo, and Tuan. 2 minutes each, including the answer.
My question is to actually. While you're talking, I was just trying to understand how digital twins are being used by specific use case, and it seems a little more inward of improving operations. And right now, at least, has there been any thought of using this to basically improve the product itself that you're getting supplied from the manufacturers? Like, you share data back with them, saying, okay, fine, these components keep failing, and you can get us a better thing that reduces cost for you. And what your solutions, have it matured enough for you to pass on benefits to customers? Like, all your savings that you do you think of maybe cheapening your services that you can give? Is it come to that maturity level, or is it still in a phase of still testing and getting data back to you?
It's only for my pocket, for my personal pocket. So, no, the things we are doing are for the customer and for the citizens, because everything we are doing is less downtime focused and more service focused and better information. We all need information if we do travel, so we are already on the focus. What is the most important thing for our customers and for the people who are living in the city? So further, we use the things to save money, to save the higher costs we have. So everything is getting expensive now. The projects, the vehicles, everything is getting more expensive, and that is one part. And another part is to save money for the city citizens. The solution. And your first question
was whether you share data with manufacturers itself for the product improvement.
Now we don't sell the products because we have made contracts with some companies to work on solutions, and I said it before outside. I told them we don't spend money. You can get our expertise, and you can sell it anywhere, but not at mine. So that's not working really 100%, but you get a good price for the things we are doing now, and we are on the research project. We have some funding on the project, So this is a very comfortable situation because we can do the things we have to do basically, but we can do it for a good budget. But we don't sell the solutions. But I think the companies who are working with us, they will bring the solutions to other companies, and so they can participate. Otherwise, they don't work with us. They won't work with us.
I don't know. A question for the I think Volker raised. If I got it correctly, you said you would like to see regulation or more regulation as the data quality. And then you mentioned also AFIA. So I know it's AFIA as far as the charging infrastructure. Can you expand data? What's on your wish list for regulation of data quality?
Yeah, when it comes to AFIA use, I mean, this is a very specific question. It's more the process, how the data quality or the data structure is discussed. So this is really something that we see that's really challenging. Because if you look at the data requirements now, and then many people ask themselves, why is this the structure that's in place now? So it's also maybe related to your questions. So if new regulation come in and a new regulation, especially when it comes to data for new technology, then how is it possible to get these different speed levels together? And here, AFIA is a good example, in my opinion, where you have a legislative level that's pretty slow and produces a regulation that makes it mandatory to collect and send data that's maybe not so relevant anymore. What happens in 5 years or so? Yeah. So this was more my point. And maybe also coming back to the question, I mean, this is as we are here in a university, this is a question that's discussed in academia a lot, I would say. So that you have, for example, this model of social technological transition by yields, and this tries to explain how comes the new in the world, and why is it sometimes so hard, and why are some structures more persistent than others, and this is something. There are some good papers that you can read.
There, if I may add, there's only one line that I always receive from the clients in Germany, the biggest ones. All your ideas are super. All your thoughts are acknowledged also. I'm sorry, I cannot approve that. I mean, everything is acknowledged, but it is not approved. So it's not approved, we cannot do it.
Yeah, then maybe it's also the communication problem somehow. So it brings us back to the skill set. I mean, the human factor. Yeah, sometimes you have to speak a lot with the same topics to the same persons also, and everyone has such stories, I would say. For example, I'm talking now for at least around 2 years with the German Ministry of Finance, because it's about energy taxation topic. And you ask yourself, what but you have to be persistent and relevant. Execution, and this is also this persistence that you have to push until you reach your goal.
Thanks for inspiring. So let's say in this technical world, Greek philosophy is the new skill. Work on your meditations. Tuan, we promised to close with you.
Since we're talking about real business case and real use cases. And as a Leipzig citizen, I'm interested in the project Flexa. So from what I know, it's a pilot project since 2019. And from, like, if you look back at the data and experience we've collected, how would you rate the acceptance, like from the customer view and the acceptance maybe from the view of your company?
Flexa is a success. That's it. We had a pilot project for small mobilities in areas where the bus is no solution because not enough people go into the bus and use the bus. And so we do some taxis, some cabs, bigger ones with 6 persons in, which you can call by an app to a fictive point, fictive stop. It was just a project to collect, to try something. And it is a success. The people use it, the people want it, and the city of Leipzig said to us, give it to another regions, and so we are growing with the project Flexa. At this time, we have drivers in the Flexa cabs in. That's not the future, because we are looking at another project to automatic driving, so that the Flexa cabs in the future, I don't know when, and the cabs in the future should drive without a driver. And then you can use the cab to go to the next tram or bus station or train station, and it's very flexible. And we will grow with Flexa, but at this time, you know, the financial situation in Germany, Sachsen, and Leipzig, there's a lot of critical points. There are a lot of critical points, so we have to look at this. We can't grow as we want, but the city of Leipzig says we have to grow.
I have a small follow-up question. It's allowed.
Please, I mean, or we continue at lunch.
Just a small question.
Oh yeah, very short.
Very short. Yes, you mentioned that you want to extend. Are you interested also to extend Flexa in other regions, like around Saxony?
No. We are excellent for Flexa, and we are busy in Leipzig. That's the point.
By the way, 1 year ago, Flexa was here basically in parallel because we had an event on demand responsive transit. There will be here again the final conference in November. In November of the Dream-based project, which will be organized by Massimo, and it's on demand responsive transit. And so let's invite this Leipzig citizen to our final conference, and we will talk more about also this aspect. And now the transition, as Stefan explained well, towards automated mobility goes from the experimentation and let's say the need of solving specific problems and let's say enhancing specific options for mobility, back-end, front-end, with better planning, and then with digitalization.
So I know that you want to organize something similar to Flexa for another region of Germany. That's the thing.
Okay.
We seem to give the knowledge, because what is important is the knowledge, the management, and people. So you have a task for lunch, if you want, of course.
Yes.
Okay. So I would say a big applause for our So we welcome Tiale, which will be with us this afternoon, and we proceed to lunch all together. Okay.
Same place and yes, we are please stay with us.
Thank you.